All right, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Week 15 NFL Y stream. Not Y stream. Wow, I'm on the wrong frame of mind. Whew. This is Draft Manager. We are doing an NFL FanDuel breakdown today. I am Juan Bond, DFS on the Twitter machine. I'm joined by Lumberjack DFS on the Twitter machine. He is Brandon Lauderback. I'm Chris Aliperto. We are Draft Manager, and this is a little free breakdown we're going to give you. Try and keep it quick here. We're going to go position by position and cover FanDuel. Most of the streams you see out there are for DraftKings, so I kind of thought maybe this would be a good idea to mix it up, get some different eyes in here. But yeah, if you're not familiar with us, we're at draftmanager.com. We launched just about a month ago. We had our free trial period. We got a lot of people in here, got signed up through that. After that ended, we are currently in our weekly pass trial period where you can get a 7-day pass in NFL for $5 or NBA for $5. That's for a week. You can add on the optimizer for $6. And then we also have our monthly. We're still on early bird pricing, so you could get NBA for $10 for a month. You could get NFL for $10 for the month. You could combine both of them for $20 for the month. You can add in PGA, NHL, EPL for another $5. Basically, you can get all sports, all articles for $25. Add on the optimizer, and then join us. We're a growing community. We're all doing pretty well. Some of you that are familiar with us have seen some of our members with some winnings for the last couple weeks or last few days. So. But now that you know who we are, Brandon, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. I'm ready for the slate today, man. It looks awesome. How you feeling? You think it's going to be pretty good?
I'm good. It looks good. I see some. I don't know. I feel good about the chalk bombs per se, and I feel good about some GPP today for the most part. So, yeah, we're gonna go position by position, correct?
Yeah, let's definitely do that. We'll start at quarterback and see what we can get into.
Yeah, let's get going right away here if you want. Great. We'll start at the top. Obviously Jimmy G is expensive, but what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of I've touched on Jimmy in my article, obviously, since he's more of a GPP play. I think he's going to be. It's looking like under 4 to 5% owned this week. So it's interesting considering Atlanta. I mean, they give up the most fantasy points to quarterbacks, I believe. They're the most of the bottom 5.
It's
without most starting corners. Jimmy's been airing it out more lately. He's got a couple games of more than 40 attempts, which is good. A couple bigger games, 28, 29 fantasy points there. The efficiency's been a little bit better over the past month, so I like that as well. I mean, I think he's a great play personally. He's one of my main targets. I don't see any way that with Emmanuel Sanders there now, Kittle as well. It's a really good combo. Debo's looking really good. I think that it's a great offense to even stack up today. What do you think about Jimmy overall?
Dude, I love him. And I'll tell you what, 8,400, usually FanDuel they get a lot of flack for horrible pricing. Like Jimmy G is, he's cheap on other sites, but he's expensive here. So yeah. I like it, whereas his ownership's going to be way lower on FanDuel than it's going to be on your DraftKings and your fantasy drafts. For guys that don't know, Brandon is a major FanDuel champion. I play on FanDuel. Brandon is real good on FanDuel. That's his main site. My main site is DraftKings. So he's gonna know these plays, the prices, and I'm gonna probably try and correlate some DK in there for some of you guys, just as as we go. But yeah, I'm all aboard Jimmy G. I'm plugging him in my lineup. What do you think about any of these other guys over 8K?
I mean, it's tough because you have Winston, right? So he's banged up. I mean, he's got that thumb injury. At 8.2, I also don't like Winston. I don't think I've I've ever played Winston for more than 8K. So with his interception, he'll throw 3-4 picks. If he doesn't counteract that with 4 touchdowns like he did last week and a ton of yards, then you're going to get 10 points. There it is right there against Jacksonville. So I don't really like Winston. Mahomes in the snow, not really a big fan of. Watson really would be the only, in my opinion, the only other target, and he's a likely cash game target for most people. It seems like this week he could be one of the highest owned quarterbacks against my Titans there. So he's 50 attempts last game. That's ridiculous. It's insane. He's rushing still. And Tennessee's got one of the worst secondaries right now, considering who of their starters are out for the corner position. Basically, Logan Ryan's playing by himself right now. So,
and he's not very good. I mean,
I'd say Watson's a good cash game target for over 8K.
Yeah, I 100% am on board with you. Mahomes in the snow, I'm a little leery. Great, good low ownership here. I mean, the him and Hill combo, could be huge here. It's going to be low owned.
Yeah.
And then Jameis, I never played Jameis. I'm with you. That's another reason. That's another reason why you and I do agree a lot. That's one thing I have noticed. And then Watson, yeah I'm on board. I'm going to play Watson in a GPP. I think. Do you really? I don't know. I guess I don't play cash on FanDuel anymore for obvious reasons. But
yeah,
it's I think I would have to play Watson. I think I'd have to pay up for Watson today, just because. I mean, some of the other guys are in tougher spots, but I think you hit it right on the head. There's no over 8K. I don't think I'm playing Rodgers. I mean, yeah, or Wilson. There's just better spots today. But how about going down under 7K? You see anybody down here? Obviously, your boy.
Yeah, I mean, as we scroll down here, it's gonna. There he is. I mean, he's right there. And he's 7.6. He finally got a boost. The price is up a little bit, but the guy is, and I talked about this again in my article. He's like first in completion percentage. He's top 3 in basically every passing category in the league. It's Ryan Tannehill from the Miami Dolphins previously. I mean, nobody ever predicted this. And now this is the hand we've been dealt, where he's just destroying teams every week. I mean, it's crazy. Jacksonville, 32 points against the Jags defense. I mean, it's crazy. Look, these games, Carolina has a really good passing defense, 25. Jeez, man. I love him today, obviously. I loved him last week. He crushed at 3% ownership, I think. Something like that. It was crazy low. The Texans currently are one of the worst teams against the pass. It's been, last week they got torched. They got torched by that guy for Denver last week. I mean, it's just crazy how bad that passing defense is right now.
Yep.
AJ Brown is on fire, and I think that he's going to go off again. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't go off. They were getting burned by the deep ball. He's going to explode again for another big game. So Tannehill's obviously, he's in play. He's looking pretty popular too, which kind of sucks, but
yeah,
it just is what it is. And if you really want to, in the same price range too, Chris, some people were talking about it in the Slack chat today. Baker Mayfield is he's there against one of the worst defenses in the league, even as terrible as he's been. What do you think about Baker today? Just as a weird GPP play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm. It's Arizona, so we've seen quarterbacks and tight ends. I mean, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Nobody's talking about David Njoku yet this week, and probably because he's not 100% healthy yet. He didn't play a lot of snaps last week, but I guess, yeah, you look at Baker, and he's going up against the worst passing defense in the league in Arizona, but he played Cincinnati last week and went 11 for 24, for 193 yards. So as much as, and it's in Arizona too. So I get the ownership pivot, but I'm not a fan of Baker today. I would much rather pay 100 less for Tannehill.
Yes.
And even in that sense, I'd rather stay in that game and I'd play Kyler Murray. I know he's been struggling just as bad as Baker over the last few weeks, but for GPPs for me, I would look at I would actually down here. I'd probably. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm going to go down a little further even too. But yeah, I would say I agree with you 100% on Tannehill. I have some Tannehill this week. And then Kyler Murray for me, but I'm going even lower. I wrote him up in fantasy draft where he's dirt cheap, but Eli Manning and Gardner. I know Minshew. The Jags are going to be chalk. They're coming up in everybody's optimizer this week. No DJ Chark, but you go back and forth from Foles to Minshew to Foles.
Yeah.
It's not there's no consistent, it's tough to gain any rhythm as a team when that happens. So my 100% best play from the Jaguars while I'm talking about Minshew would have to be Fournette this week. I think that Fournette's going to be the prime beneficiary of those receptions. While we all try and get it out of Westbrook and Conley. But I'm playing Westbrook and Conley. So, at least a little bit, but yeah, I would, both Minshew and Manning have terrible matchups. I'm not going to say Minshew's a terrible quarterback. I'm not going to say either of them are terrible quarterbacks, but I mean, in a deep GPP where say you're paying up for Christian McCaffrey and you need to save money at QB, I would say Minshew or Manning are my two value guys. What do you think about that?
Yeah, man. It's funny because I really considered Eli Manning a little bit this week. He's not that good anymore, obviously. It's Miami, though. Saquon's been struggling since he's come back off that injury. He doesn't look good. He's very slow. He's not hitting the hole well. He's not breaking tackles as well. He's not doing anything really that good right now. So people actually like Saquon a lot today, it looks like. So I would say that Manning, if you're going down this far, go Manning. He's bound for one of these big games here. It's going to be his final couple games of the year here for the rest of his career. He's going to be retired. So
that's another great point. Is you think he doesn't want to go out there and ball out?
Yeah,
he's a competitor. He's a Manning. I trust Manning and Slayton way more than Barkley this week. Way more. I'm not a fan of Barkley this week. I see Barkley coming up everywhere. Ever since he had that high ankle sprain, he hasn't been the same. Like you said, he hasn't looked the same.
I will say this though about Manning. That weather is looking rough. There's going to be some wind there. And this is another thing that was brought up in the Slack chat. And I even said, I don't know if he can get the ball past 10 yards with this wind. His arm is so bad now that is he going to be limited to these dump offs to Smith at 7-8 yards where he can't get the ball down the field without it going 20 yards in the other direction. I don't know. So that's my only main concern with Eli. If there wasn't the wind, I might take a shot on him. So I would say Eli's great. And Minshew's not bad either against Oakland. We saw how bad they are. It's just the Jags are so done. They've hung it up. And if you really want, I'll say this too, one last guy before you move on is David Blow for Detroit. I just want to briefly say that he's too expensive here, but he threw it 38 and 40 times these two games he's played. And it's Minnesota and Chicago, and he didn't do completely terrible. So
and now he gets Tampa. Yeah, that's a good call. I don't like the prices. I wish he was down here at 68 with Eli and Gardner, but I agree. I would have looked at Blau for sure if he was a little cheaper against Tampa Bay.
It's such a weird play against Tampa Bay, but his matchups have been, he hasn't had an easy way into the league here. So if he's gonna have a big game, it's gonna be this week, and it's gonna be to Galladay. You could book it now because I really like Galladay this week. So we'll talk about him in a little bit. But yeah, David Blow, however you say his name, that guy, that's a really deep GPP play. If you have the sack for it, he's there. So that's it for me at quarterback, though. I mean, you want to move on to running back, see what we can get into.
Yeah, let's move along here. We don't need to. I mean, McCaffrey's 10-4 now. I think he's easily. You can play him if you want. There's enough value. Necessary? I don't know. It's like the number one question in DFS every week: do we jam him in or not?
Yeah.
In my lineup with Jimmy G, I don't think I'm going to be able to. So, but yeah, I'm playing some Christian McCaffrey. There's a whole lot to like here at 8K and up. McCaffrey, yeah. Henry, Cook, Zeke. I like them all. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is so loaded for running back this week, and it's kind of. I usually like to do the strategy of I'll pay up for two, and then the flex I'll punt one. Well, we lost James Washington as a punt now with Jacobs playing, so I'm not going to play Patrick Laird. So it's kind of one of these situations where I might pay up for all three. Like it's completely logical to even say, I'm going to run three stud type running backs. So like you said, we all know McCaffrey's amazing. So we're not going to really talk about him that much. He's an amazing play. Play him. If you can afford him, play him. Dalvin Cook, people are now starting to talk about a little bit. We have him in kind of a weird role where Madison's kind of not playing. So
he's out. Yep.
Who's gonna get these extra touches? Is it going to be Cook? Is he going to go back up to this 26 kind of range right here, or is he going to stay down here in the 18 range? They're going to give it to Boone. I don't know, but I think that he's going to get up into the 20s, and I think he's a great play against the Chargers at lower ownership because people are worried about the injury.
Yeah. Being in Minnesota and a Vikings fan,
so
I would say Cook. I'm still worried about Cook. I think the Chargers D, since they got Derwin James back, has been really, really good. I know the Chargers they're 5-8, and Vikings fans are already talking about the Packers next week, which is really, really dumb because the Chargers game is going to be tough. But
yeah,
Cook will have. Yeah, I mean, Amir Abdullah and Mike Boone, like you said, who knows? But I don't think Cook will get any extended role because Madison's out. That's just my opinion from, looking at it. But, yeah, that's anything else you want to touch on with any of these other guys? Zeke, maybe?
I mean, geez.
Henry's expensive, but what a great spot again. But, I don't think we're worried about the hamstring at all with Henry, are we?
Honestly, I don't know. He played with it last week. He kind of left. He left a couple of times, and he didn't look terrible, but there was a little decline in his explosiveness towards the end of the game in the second half. I did see there was a couple of times where he was holding back. Not that it affect his performance that well. I mean, he still dropped 23 points. But I'm worried that the Titans are going to force him to take less carries this week.
That's what I was thinking as well.
I mean, he's been very adamant. I want to play. I want to log a bunch of carries. He's said how many times this week that he's going to play, and he's definitely going to play. But it's going to be a question of how many carries. So it's not his choice how many carries he gets. That's the problem.
And for 1,000
Lewis is a capable back. So if they go for a passing attack here against this weak secondary, that takes Henry out anyways. I like Henry, obviously, as a Titans fan, but for 9.4 with the injury, the hamstring, and the game script, I don't really know if I'm on him as much this week. I would definitely say, this range here, though, Chris, down here, this is a really nice kind of little chunk of players here. Who do you want to talk about from right in this area? Do you have anybody specifically that you're looking at?
Yeah. Before we get down there, we should note that we're both off Saquon Barkley.
Yes,
because everybody else is in the industry. And I get for cash games, the matchup is great, but I just think there's better spots, man. I don't know about you, but anyway, moving down here, Josh Jacobs is going to play through his shoulder injury, which, I mean, really ruined that value on DeAndre Washington. But then I like Jones here. I like Fournette. And I love Mostert. Mostert's to play on DK. He's 5,200. I mean, again, credit to FanDuel for getting the pricing right. They made the slate harder than DraftKings did by a mile. And for me, out of all these guys, I kind of talked about it with Minshew, but I'm on Fournette.
There he is, 7.7 this week, man. It's a good price for him with that workload. He could be great.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why he's not at least over 8K. Like on a slate where it seems like they got a lot of guys priced right. I really think we got to look for the places we can save a few $100.
Yeah, he's been over 8 a couple of times. When he was having those big games, they would bump him. They would bump him up over 8, and then he's had a couple of those questionable performances. Obviously, these past 2 weeks, and there's the 32-point game sandwiched in there between two duds. It's like he has a couple good games, and there's a couple bad games, and there's a good game, then a couple bad games. So he's due for a good game again. He follows this pattern. It's a great matchup. Oakland's awful on defense, both sides, passing, rushing. They're terrible. So I think if you're gonna do a Jag, he's the one to get. I mean, I'm right with you on that. If you pair him with Minshew, he's gonna get some receptions. That's a nice little mini stack, and you don't even have to target any of the receivers if you don't want to.
Yeah, I agree. And then moving down a little bit more, Shanahan said that this week that Mostert has earned the lead role in that muddled backfield all year, and the dude has been a monster. I don't know. He's just looked like a beast the last couple of games. He's got 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games, had 1 receiving, and then he's got a rushing touchdown in each 3 games. I think I trust Shanahan here, but man, Tevin Coleman and Matt Breida are still there. So is 7,500 worth it on this site for him?
I have no interest in Mostert here, honestly. And it's the price. I mean, 7,500. The matchup's not that great either. Atlanta's pretty good against the rush.
Yep.
And it's with Gurley right there, Fournette right there. I just can't. I don't think I can do it. If he's that cheap on DK, though, you gotta go. I mean, you gotta go with him on DK. And like you said, I know that Shanahan said that he's going to get the lead role, and he may get the lead role, but I just don't think they're going to phase out Breida and Coleman like that. Like it's not going to go that way. I really don't believe that, even for a second. Coleman's too good of a pass catcher to just get phased out of the offense, and Breida's shown that he's a good runner for the past 2 seasons. So I'm not as on board with Mostert as a lot of people are. On FanDuel, I have no interest, to be honest. Not even in GPPs. So that's just kind of, and then look, there's Chris Carson right here too. I mean, I don't see how you would go Mostert over Carson this week. It's tough.
Yes, that was where I just scrolled a little bit further, and then I'm like, whoa, there's Chris Carson down here too, who's like going to be 99% owned. But I mean, with Rashad Penny out, don't think CJ Pro CC is a Procise or whatever the hell his name is. He's not going to carry the ball. He's a third down back who might catch some passes. But you know what? Pete Carroll loves Chris Carson. That is really, I look at stuff like that. Does the coach? I mean, that's huge. He's going to be on the field because of that. So, and yeah, he's got fumble issues, but look how bad Carolina's been against the running backs. It's a touchdown a week. Carson's chalk. We don't have to say much else there.
Yeah, that's just a no-brainer play. I mean, on FanDuel, you just kind of lock it in, cash whatever you're playing, and just kind of move on. In my opinion, like you said, it's a great play. We don't have to say much else about that one.
Right. Yeah. So
what about down lower here?
I'm going to go into a couple guys I see getting some love that I don't like, just to kind of cross them off for me. But going down under 6K, I like James White, but not really here. I'd like him on DraftKings, where we get the full PPR. And then I seeing some chatter about Philip Lindsay this week. Do you guys remember that game where the Bills were like, he was supposed to run all over the Bills and the Bills D shut him down? Like, I just don't think, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Lindsay against KC here. KC has had injuries over the course of the year to that defensive front, and they're healthy now. So I don't know. There's a lot of reasons. I mean, Drew Lock is coming on, and he wants to pass the ball. So I don't know. Lindsay's doesn't do it for me, even at his price. So just wanted to get that one out there. What do you feel about Lindsay?
I mean, I agree with you. I highlighted his game from KC on the log here. Terrible. This is the only time he played KC this year, obviously. 11 for 36 and 3.7 FanDuel points. So
yeah, what week was that?
It was
I can't quite see it.
Yeah, that was
Early
it was in October. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, it was about 7 weeks ago. I'm not a big game log guy, but I mean, you have to look at those things at least a little bit. And it's going to be in the snow, so yeah, he's going to get he's going to get some more carries, but I'm not a big Lindsey truther, to be honest with you. He had a great year last year, but Royce Freeman's still there, and Royce is still getting touches. So until Royce is gone, or something would happen, he gets injured, I'm just not on Lindsey personally. His price is okay though. If you really need somebody in that range, I guess you can go there, but I'm not on him that much either, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. You see anything else down here? I know there's some value way down at the bottom. A couple guys that are worth GPP flyers. Our guy Tucker mentioned Boston Scott way down at 4,700. If you need a less than 2% salary saver, Boston Scott's getting carries there for the Eagles against Washington. Who ranked Washington's 27th against the run. He got 10 carries for 59 and a touchdown, but he actually caught 6 passes for 69 yards when Miles Sanders is supposed to be doing that stuff. So,
man, he's got that Darren Sproles role right now, kind of, except he's getting more carries in it.
Yeah. And then there's down here too, there's that JD McKissick with Bo Scarborough. Is he out? I think he's out. And Marvin Lewis is out, but this is more of a PPR play for me too as well. Not more FanDuel, but more DraftKings for value. JD McKissick should get some extra targets with Marvin Jones out.
Yeah, that's a decent play. I know somebody else mentioned that today. I can't remember who, but I didn't look into it much. I didn't want to say a whole lot about it, but God, there's not many options there, right? So someone's got to get the ball.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, he's cheap. 4.9, that's really cheap for a decent workload.
If you want to stack up Jimmy G and Kittle, you might need a guy like that because they're expensive. So
yeah, you're really gonna have to find some value, and that's a good way to get it. McKissick and Scott, I don't mind those at all, honestly, especially in GPPs.
Yeah, is there one more guy you want to talk about, or should we just skip him?
I don't. I think I'm good, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, we don't like Patrick Laird. We're not playing Patrick Laird. On to wide receivers.
Yeah. I mean, do we have? I went right past Patrick Laird. I don't think we have to talk about Laird because I hate Laird. Yeah. As long as you hate Laird, I hate Laird. We ain't got nothing to say about him. He sucks. I'm not playing him. I don't think anyone should play him, but a lot of people are going to play him. So it is what it is,
Just look at, I can't play a Dolphins running back. I mean, that's the bottom line. I don't care if it was Barry Sanders. I probably wouldn't play him. All right. So on to the wide.
Oh, man.
Here we go to the wide receivers. Yeah, let's see. Who do you like at the top? Obviously, we got Hopkins in a good spot. A lot of love for Godwin out there this week.
Man, it's people are talking about Godwin not drawing Slay.
I don't get that. Why though?
And because Godwin's in the slot like 50 to 55% of the time. Slay only travels in the slot like 25% of the time. But I don't know, man. I think in cash, I don't see any reason not to play Godwin. For GPP, I'm not going to play him simply due to ownership. And I think that Slay is going to travel with him. I think that Slay is going to go into the slot and he's going to follow Godwin because who else is Slay going to cover?
Exactly.
I mean, is he going to cover Perriman? Like, what's the point of that? I don't see any point in Slay sitting on the outside with Perriman whenever their best receiver is in the slot. I don't know. What do you think about Godwin overall?
100%. Our guys are loving him. Some of our analysts are loving him, obviously, because he's, Evans is out. Great matchup against Detroit, but I think you hit it right on the head. I was kind of going over the shadow matrix on PFF, looking at how much Slade does shadow in the slot and stuff like that. But you're at the exact same thing I was going to say is who else is he going to cover? I don't think, and they don't, the rest of the Lions secondary is awful. It's slay or bust. Like if they can find somebody like Perriman might actually be a great pivot here. But I didn't even really consider him until this morning. But yeah, I'm going to play Hopkins and Watson in one GPP lineup. But after that, I know you like one more receiver up here in this range. I'm going way down, like I always do at wide receiver on FanDuel. This is where I find my value. So
yeah,
and I know you're kind of opposite. Like you pay up a little bit for a couple of these guys. So
yeah, I mean, I guess before we go down, I guess we'll just say, yeah, the only other I do like to go at least one guy up here. Sometimes too, it just depends on the build. I am interested in Kenny Golladay, so I mean he's there at 7.9. He has a 40% end zone target share. So basically, all that means is whenever the Lions are in the red zone and they're by the end zone and they're trying to score, he's getting 40% of those looks. And that's the main reason that I like him today. He's shown decent chemistry with Blau, so that's another reason. But he's getting 40% of the end zone looks. I mean, people are not – I don't know if a lot of people probably don't understand. That's a giant share. That's a bigger share than most people have. So I think that, while the targets aren't great, he's still going to get at least around 7 or 8. It's just enough for him to score 1 or 2 touchdowns against the worst team against receivers. They give up the most fancy points in the league to receivers, Tampa Bay does. So I like Golladay a lot from this range personally. But then, you could easily move down from here. I mean, a lot of these other guys, Adams, Hill, Robinson, I really don't like a whole lot. I don't know. Do you like anybody else here? Kind of. I don't really see anybody else. Maybe Cooper, I guess.
No Cooper for me. No, for me, up in here, 7,500 or so and up, I'm with you. Golladay and Hopkins are really the only two I would play this week. I would maybe play. I'm not anti Devontae Adams. I certainly think he's okay. But yeah, even scrolling down here a little bit more.
Wow. Oh, we have to talk about Julio Jones right in this range here, and I'm so committed to Julio Jones this week that I feel like there's no way I'm not going to play him, and nobody's playing him. Might be the only one in this entire live stream that will play Julio Jones, and that doesn't even matter because he's going to have a big game, and no Richard Sherman. Half that secondary is kind of banged up, so 7.5. I don't know if I've ever seen him this cheap.
Well, that and Ridley's out now too. So, geez, Ridley went to IR.
The big target share, man. It's gonna be around 28 to 30% of a target share this week for Julio. That's a lot of targets for a receiver that's as good as he is. And the matchup's not as bad as people are thinking that it is. Michael Thomas blew up this team last week. So
That's a good point
I
too.
don't know, man. I'm really big on Julio, so that's kind of my lock, like GPP play for wide receiver is Julio, right in this range here.
Yeah, I like that actually. That's one I'm a never Julio guy. So I won't play Julio, but I'll tell you right now, as one guy I see that's getting a lot of attention in this range is Jarvis Landry, who's been
Yeah.
playing really well. I think I'd play Julio over Landry. Not in cash games. I think Landry is your cash game play here, obviously, but in GPP pivot, look at Julio Jones for sure. I agree with that 100%.
It's tough though because like Landry 7,400, and then you think about it, like when you compare the caliber of receivers, it's so hard to like. Oh gosh, Julio's such a better receiver than Landry. They're priced right around the same, but Landry gets such a good matchup this week in the slot against those Arizona slot corners that are terrible. That I think he's a great play in cash games. Honestly, I 100% agree with you. Jarvis is a great play in cash.
Yeah, and if you want a less than 5% wide receiver right below him, Adam Thielen's going to return from injury, but he had the hamstring. He thought he was healthy, didn't work out. So there's like more risk with this than anything, obviously, but 7,300 for Thielen's too cheap.
It is for as good as he is. It just sucks because he's had this season has been kind of it's been kind of rough for him with the injury, and he had a couple of these bad games early on. He was kind of struggling, and then Diggs was being a diva. It was a wild season for Thielen after that breakout year. He's such a good receiver. I agree. I mean,
it was like too many mouths to feed type of situation, and then Cousins got hot. And yeah, who knows? It's interesting. He's too cheap, but
yeah, I agree.
All right, moving down a little bit here. See anybody under 7K here, like in this range? Obviously, there's tons of targets, but who are you looking at in here?
Yeah, this is an interesting range. Will Fuller is quite interesting. I don't think I'm going to play Fuller, but he's going to play this week, and he's going to get one of the backup corners for Tennessee because Logan Ryan is going to be forced to follow Hopkins. It's really the only guy that can even try and cover Hopkins. So Will Fuller's got a ton of big playability. I think that he's a great GPP play. Definitely not cash because as you can see, he can get one target for 6 yards very easily as he can get 217 yards and 3 touchdowns. So I think that his price is great in this mid-range here. And if you're not playing Hopkins and you want to kind of get, pivot off of him, but still get exposure to Houston, I think Fuller's a great option for this kind of price range. In my opinion, he's my preferred target here. Even go Gallup, I guess, too, but I'm not that big on Gallup this week.
Yeah, I like it. I like the Fuller if he's healthy. Same thing with Thielen hamstring. Those hamstrings can be tricky, so there's risk there, no doubt. But I don't think I'm going to go up and I'm not even going to talk about those guys. DJ Moore is kind of coming down a little bit, but he has a good matchup. I like Michael Gallup this week. I like Keenan Allen this week quite a bit. Not as much on FanDuel, obviously, with the half PPR, but against Minnesota's really struggled in the secondary. And I'm pretty sure we've struggled covering Allen in the past, too. I think he's had some like 10 catch games against us in the past. Not that matters, but I like Allen over on like Fantasy Draft where he's 11-9. DK where he's 60. I don't even know. Doesn't matter. But yeah, then going down a little bit more, I've already mentioned kind of with Manning, I kind of like Slayton, but I think he's after his week last week, he's looking kind of chalky. And then just kind of staying above 6K. Speaking of chalk, we got D.D. Westbrook down here with DJ Chark out. People are going to be liking Westbrook. And Mike Williams is getting some love from some optimizers. Again, that bad Minnesota secondary. Christian Kirk in play, I think, every week. Gets a lot of targets. And then let's talk about your guy to pair up with Tannehill, who's on fire.
Yeah, he's right there, man. 6.2. There he is, AJ Brown. Recently got the boost from Madden. I think his overall is like 86 or something on there now. They made a big deal out of it on Twitter. So I guess that was kind of cool. I mean, I don't know. He was a nobody at the beginning of the year, decent prospect, but man, you put Tannehill into the mix, and the guy he's playing how Corey Davis was supposed to play. And I was a big Corey Davis fan. I thought he was going to be a big deal, and that guy sucks. He's terrible. He's terrible. AJ Brown is the man to have in Tennessee, and he's going to have another big week.
I think
that's kind of just what it is. He's going to have a monster week against this terrible secondary. Tannehill's going to throw him the ball 7-8 times, and he's going to get a ton of big play opportunity because that's what he does. As you could see last week, kind of 97-yard touchdown or something like that, I think. Crazy. So I love Brown, obviously. That's an amazing play in every single format.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm surprised he didn't get more of a price boost, compared to, I think 62 is just that perfect price where we can pair him with Tannehill and jam in CMC if we want, or do whatever the hell we want. So
exactly. And that's great. And that's a good thing about playing off FanDuel sometimes.
Yeah,
you can expose those bad price jumps, because that's a prime example for sure, man.
Yeah. Anybody else I maybe skipped over in this range, or anybody else you're looking at?
The only other guy that I really like in this range is Deebo Samuel. I think I mentioned him maybe one time when we first kind of got going with Jimmy G.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deebo's the number 2 receiver next to Sanders, and he's doing great in that role. He's getting a nice target share. The performance has been good. He's got 5 straight games of double-digit fantasy points. And it's kind of another situation where FanDuel's like, well, we're not really going to raise this price that much. It's kind of been like a slow increase, only 6,500. If you are playing Jimmy and you don't want to play Kittle, but you still want exposure, I like Deebo a lot against these Atlanta corners.
Yeah, that's a good call. I think Sanders is going to get – Deebo will be overlooked compared to Emmanuel Sanders after Sanders had the big game last week. So I would lean Deebo as well. I actually like – on FanDuel, so like on DK, I like stacking up Jimmy G with Mostert and Kittle. But over here on FanDuel, I'm thinking Jimmy G with Deebo and Kittle is probably your better – I think the 49ers – I think that game's going to be 35-31 or something like that. So
yeah,
that's where
it's gonna be a great game.
Yeah, I want to get in that game and as much as possible, obviously, in spots that aren't as obvious.
Correct. That's the way to do it. Deebo's a great way to get that exposure for sure. I think it's a great target.
Word up. So, we got to get into these punts, these value guys.
Yeah,
it's not gonna work. We got Chris Conley is 5,100. He will fill in for DJ Chark. I'm sure he's popping everywhere. If you sign up or listen to anything, you've probably are aware of Chris Conley this week. And then there's Greg Ward in Philadelphia, who will fill in for Nelson Aguilar. You got any interest in either of these guys way down here?
I've been very adamant. I'm not playing these Jags receivers. I'm not doing it. There's no way that I'm playing them. So yet again, though, this is a GPP based kind of mindset. So I'm a little bit different. Conley's going to see ownership. And Didi's definitely, I mean, they're both going to see some ownership. I don't like the Jags receivers personally, even against Oakland. It's just, God, that team is a hot mess right now. So I'm going to just avoid it. And I do, but you did bring up Ward. God, I mean, that's 4.9 is really cheap against Ward, for Ward here against Washington. And he saw a heavy snap count last week. Going to see a heavy snap count this week.
I think he had a bunch of targets, didn't he? A bunch of
better
short
play,
targets.
in my opinion, over JJ, whatever Whiteside. I don't even know this dude's whole name. the other guy that plays for Philly,
JJ
he's going to be a
Arcega.
way better play, in my
Yeah,
opinion. Greg Ward. He just seems like the better player overall. He got 9 targets too against the Giants. So I don't know. What do you think
that's what it
about
was.
Ward personally? And I guess Conley too. Maybe you like Conley. I'm not sure. But what do you think?
Yeah, I've been kind of Team Conley since the whole news broke early in the week Tuesday. But then after looking into the Ward situation a little bit, yeah, Aguilar's out. The dude got 9 targets, albeit like he's more of a possession guy. It looks like because they were all short, but that stuff adds up. If he gets 7, 8 catches, 80 yards, he'll pay off that 4,900 price tag pretty well. It's the last man standing. Shit, they're playing Washington too, so that's. Yeah, I like that. I like if you want to talk about value, you can run Boston Scott and Greg Ward in the same lineup and pretty much play whoever the hell you want.
Good gosh, that's like overkill at that point. You're going to be able to get in McCaffrey, Garoppolo, Kittle. I mean, you get everybody in that way. It's
Yeah.
just you got to be all right with possibly getting combined 4 points from those two, or maybe they get you 12 to 15, which is all you need really for them to pay off. So I like it. It's a very interesting strategy.
It's different, that's for sure. Yeah. So we should probably, we're going on 45 minutes, so we should let's rip this through here real quick.
Yeah.
Tight ends, favorite tight ends?
Yeah, man. It's Kittle, Ertz, and Higbee for me. Those are my guys for sure. It's just kind of dependent on kind of your build. If you are playing Jimmy and you want the best exposure for San Fran, you play Kittle. If you're not playing Jimmy, you're playing somebody else, Tannehill, whoever, Watson, but you want somebody with still good upside that maybe isn't quite as expensive, go Ertz. If you're paying up and you can't afford either of those two, and you don't want to play OJ Howard, who's going to disappoint everybody again for the 15th time in a row, you go with Tyler Higbee against Dallas, who has not been that great against tight ends. And Higbee's been a monster since taking over the starting role. So I really like Higbee a lot.
100%. Kittle number 1 for me. I love Ertz. He's picking it up. And then, Higbee. I mean, that's what I wrote in my article this week. I do the fantasy draft article over on Draft Manager. Higbee's 7,700. Ever since everybody talks about how much of a genius McVay is, he's this offensive genius. Well, man, why the hell was Higbee on the bench before Everett? Why was Gerald Everett playing over Higbee? Because ever since Higbee's taken over the last 2 weeks, they've looked as a team just 100% better. The dude's opening everything up, and then he's 7 catches plus for 100 plus yards the last 2 weeks. It's like, I mean, in my lineups where I'm not playing Kittle, I don't know how I can play anybody else other than Higbee since he's still priced way down here. I know there's some Ian Thomas love out there. He scored last week. He's got a good matchup against Seattle, but I have a hard time with it too. I know you do. You didn't even mention him, so.
Hell yeah, that's honestly, man. I think if you're gonna go Ian Thomas for 5.3, why don't you just go all the way down here and you take Caden Smith 4.7, and you probably are gonna get more points. Honest to God, because Ian Thomas is he's not gonna score in back-to-back weeks for Carolina. I mean, Seattle's not been great against tight ends, but Carolina has never fed Ian Thomas in this situation before. They're not going to start now. And Caden Smith is going to get some targets here. I mean, you've talked about Eli, right? So
yeah,
if we're going to maybe dabble with some Eli Manning, then we should definitely be looking at Caden Smith, who's almost min-priced and is going to get 100% of the snaps, more or less. He's going to get 100% of the passing plays for New York. So what do you think about him as opposed to Ian Thomas?
I like it. I flirted with it last week or a couple weeks ago when both the guys went down and he didn't do much. But certainly, I don't like it as much with they got their full complementary receivers now. That's the only thing that, I mean, I think when he was getting more looks, we still had Tate was back, but Shepard might have still been out. I don't remember. either way, yeah, I'm not on the Ian Thomas train. I think that was kind of a 1 week. The guy was open on the 1 yard line, and they one time they didn't give it to McCaffrey. So yeah, I don't know. I would rather pay up for Higbee, I guess. Even at that point, is kind of where I stand on that.
Definitely, I 100% agree with Higbee. Ian Smith would just be that's an extreme dart value. Like if you absolutely need it.
Yeah. Word up. So, wow. How about that? Defense, Patriots. If you can fit them in, do it. There's certainly some value. What do you like in the defense? I know we're pretty much we're almost. A lot of times you hear people say plug into defense, whatever fits, and blah blah blah. I don't know. I pay a lot more attention to defense than most people, I think, but a lot of people like the Chiefs in the snow this week. What are you thinking?
Yeah, Chiefs in the snow seems really good for me. 3.9. That's probably where I'm gonna go. I'm like you a lot. I do pay a lot of attention to defense because the reality is if you want to win a tournament on any site, it doesn't matter which site, you need to have the most potential at each position. So I'm not just gonna plug in a random defense that doesn't just because it fits. This is going to get me negative 2 points. It's not going to win me a tournament. It's probably not going to make me cash double ups either. So I do pay a lot of attention to defense, just like you. So the Chiefs in the snow against Drew Lock, and he's unproven 2 games in the NFL. Chiefs are looking really good the past couple of weeks, actually. Shut down the Patriots more or less. 16 points. The Raiders the 9, the Chargers the 17. They're getting some crazy amount of interceptions too recently. They're getting sacks. I think there's a lot to like with the Chiefs, and if you're looking to pay up and kind of get the best matchup, the best defense, you go with the Patriots, who are probably going to be a little lower owned, just due to the price tag because people can't afford them. So those are kind of my 2 favorites. What are you thinking defense wise?
Interesting. Well, I agree with the Chiefs. I'm going to be on the Chiefs for 3,900 here on FanDuel. I'm going to play the Patriots once too, just because it's Cincinnati and we remember how they started the year. I think we could see a double-digit performance out of the Patriots D as well. But man, the Lions are 4,100 here. They're way cheap on DK, 2,300. I'm a fan of the Lions on other sites where they are way cheaper. But here, I think the cheapest I'm going to go is KC. I thought about the Rams at 36. I really like Ramsey shutting down Cooper in that one. But on the road, I don't know. I tend to play home defenses a lot more than road defenses as well. So, but
I think I think that's mostly it, right? I mean, someone mentioned the Redskins. Where are they even at? There they are, 3,500. I think it was Joe and Tucker from the Slack were talking about the Redskins. I don't know if I'm gonna go Redskins, but it could be decent. Maybe that might be the only other target.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, are you playing Ward and Boston Scott though? I mean, nobody's playing Boston Scott, but are you playing Greg Ward?
I'm playing Greg Ward probably at least. I'm playing one of those 2, right?
Yeah, me too, exactly.
So,
yep. All right, I think we might as well put a wrap on it. We almost hit an hour, 55 minutes. I put together a lineup during this time, and I'm just going to give it to you. So if you stuck around, and we got 8 viewers, it looks like. So if anybody wants a lineup, it's Jimmy G, Boston Scott, Chris Carson, Greg Ward, Will Fuller, Debo, Kittle, McCaffrey, Chiefs D. So we got a Kittle, Debo, Garoppolo stack with CMC, with Kittle, and then the Chris Carson chalk, the Boston Scott Ward value, and Boston Scott Greg Ward value with the Chiefs D. So pretty much stuff we covered. No salary left over. I'm going to enter it in a $1 and just contest filled. I guess
of course. Of course, right? That's how it goes. That's a good lineup, dude.
Just from building it. Just from talking it through, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what we're here to do. Just kind of give you some options and help you build a lineup, right? That's what we're doing.
That's great.
So
awesome.
Thanks, man. You were fun to stream with. I think we'll be better next time. I might have talked over you a couple times and interrupted you, but it's cool. It was good.
Yeah, fun dude. Stuff. It's a great time. Appreciate it, Chris. It was a nice hour, and try it again sometime. Hopefully, we also win some money today. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, thanks for checking us out. This will be live after if you didn't check it live and want to check it out. So yeah, everybody, draftmanager.com for all the latest, and follow us on Twitter at @draft_manager. At Lumberjack DFS is Brandon. At Wanbon DFS is me. And that's it for week 15. Good luck on your NFL. Peace.
Later.